the first one that comes to mind would be resting heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can Google what the normal range is. You'll see anywhere from 50, 60, maybe up to 90 or 100 where they would maybe consider you tachycardic. So
that's a fancy word.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Just essentially rapid heart rate. And so again, it depends. Is your watch or your wearable, is it measuring resting heart rate just anytime it detects the lowest points of the day? Does it take a measurement when you're sleeping? Does it take it in the morning? Is it some sort of culmination of, different measurements across the day? But in general, it'll do a pretty nice job at finding kind of your low point. The importance with resting heart rate is you can use this number to say, here's where I sit, and you can track it over a long amount of time, forever basically,
right, to
see, am I getting fitter, a crude measure to say, am I getting fitter in cardiorespiratory aspects?
Because I know for me, I didn't track my heart rate. Obviously, I wasn't wearing a wearable until recently. And every time I would go in to give blood at the Red Cross, give platelets, they would always have to be like, Tyler, we're going to need you to calm down. Sit still. We're going to go away for 5 minutes. We're coming back because holy cow, your heart rate is through the roof. And so I have to make a conscious effort to go in and just be calm. But because it was just high, but that's the only exposure I had to my heart rate was only then. And if I didn't go give platelets all the time, I would only know my heart rate when I went to the doctor, which white coat syndrome makes it spike anyway. So this is a helpful thing to know what is my baseline, where am I, and to then track it over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure what you've seen is that it's much lower than what you've seen in those settings.
I kind of was panicking myself every time I went in.
Yeah, and then that was not to get lost here, but that was sort of my trouble in working with the Whoop. I think the Whoop is a great tool in the same way that a lot of these are, but it's just that crude recovery score, that crude daily strain score that it gives you. It's a culmination of all these factors that, just because my heart rate was up a little bit at work, I was moving, I'm on my feet, moving around, or I had it on during an episode and my heart rate's a little higher than normal. It factors that into that daily strain calculation. And then when it's all said and done, you go look at the day's work or you look at the day's measurements and your strain is like through the roof. So your strain, how hard was, what does that tell you? How strenuous was my day?
Yeah.
And it's like, was it really?
Yeah. It didn't feel that way.
Just because my heart rate was kind of like popping up at certain points and I had stressful conversations. Like certainly I would know that my day is stressful. I know I don't need my strain to tell me what my day was like.
We're getting into the negatives. Let's save that because that's good.
And so that's just crazy how heart rate, for example, can really drive these things in different directions. But I digress. So with resting heart rate, it's not that it's the low amount of beats that portends the benefit, because in that sense, it would be, all right,
my 20 beats per minute is ideal.
Yeah. Or it's like you have so many heartbeats in your lifetime and you want to lower that so you have less beats by the time you're,
so that you can live longer by using those up.
Right. It's more of a reflection of the level of fitness that the individual contains. So,
got it.
So as you start pushing 60, 58, 55, 50, you see some elite endurance athletes in the 40s, resting heart rate, which, it's certainly attainable, but it's that idea that your heart works more efficiently. It takes less beats, less,
as a muscle, it is stronger. And so it's forcing blood through in a more efficient way.
And so that's the thought. Yes. There's just a heightened efficiency there. So I would 100% say if you have one of these devices, keep an eye on resting heart rate.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. What else? You said something else about heart rate. You said VO2 max and some other stuff.
I would still put that, I would say that's more, in my opinion, in the middle category.
Okay.
Just because of the device to device variation.
Sure.
How accurate is it really going to be? It can be, there's plenty of studies and there's more YouTube videos than studies
Yeah.
of somebody saying, and if you're interested in that, just go watch those videos. you know, I bought 15 wearables and then I
strapped them all
to
both
on,
arms.
And then I went and got my VO2 max measured at the local college, and it was within 1.7 you know, milliliters per kilogram per minute, whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm fascinated by that as well. But, you know, there was one gentleman, his was very accurate. His wife was like 10, 15% off between measured in a lab versus measured on her Garmin. So I just don't know. We get lost in the negatives again. I think it's useful in the same sense that you can track resting heart rate to maybe measure changes in your fitness.
Yeah.
And so if you just look at it saying this VO2 max in a vacuum is probably wrong.
Right.
But if I give merit to some of these fluctuations, that's cool. If I see it going up, it's probably a good thing. If it's going down, I probably need to look at something.
Got it.
That's
okay.
all.
So you're looking for trend lines.
Trends. It's all trends for sure.
Okay.
Trends for sure. If you're measuring, monitoring, you're looking for trends, no matter what these metrics are.